We read from the Srimad Bhagavatam, and this is 8th canto, 19th chapter, verse, we start with 35 to 37. And the chapter is called The Lord Begs Charity from Bali Maharaj. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 So we are listening to Sukacharya, who is the guru of Bali Maharaj. We say guru in this context. Actually, he is like the family acharya. So the whole house of Bali Maharaj had one guru, but he was not like we choose a guru. He was just the person in charge of all the rituals and spiritual guidelines within the house of this whole dynasty. So it's because we will see later, Bali Maharaj, he's not following his instructions, because we will listen to this. But first we listen to what Shukracharya, he's giving all his arguments why Bali Maharaj, he's not going to give charity to Vamanadev. Vamanadev, he's asking just 3 steps of land in his own measurement. He is asking for 3 steps of land. So we listen to what now Shukracharya, he's giving some reasons why this charity should not be given. So we read first the 2 verses. I just read the English, and then we go to verse 37, and there we read the Sanskrit. You will certainly be unable to fulfill your promise, and I think that because of this inability, your eternal residence will be hell. He's very strong. He knows, Sukacharya, he knows something that not everybody knows. He knows that Vamanadev is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he knows that he has a special game. He's gonna cheat Bali Maharaj out of his kingdom. This Sukacharya, he already knows this, so that's why he's speaking very strongly like that. So he's saying, learned scholars do not praise the charity which endangers one's livelihood. Charity, sacrifice, austerity, and fruitive activities are possible for one who is competent to earn his livelihood properly. They are not possible for one who cannot maintain himself. And now we read the verse on the board. Dhammasya yashashe ritya. Dhammaya yashashe ritya. Kamaya svajanaya cha. Kamaya svajanaya cha. Panchahavi bhajan vitam. Panchadavi bhajan vitam.
Janvitam,
Iha mutra cha modate.
Ihamutra Chamodate,
Iha mutra cha modate.
Ihamutra Chamodate,
Dhamaya ya shashitratya.
Dharmaya Shashitaya,
Kamaya janaya cha.
Kamaya Svajanaya Cha,
Panchada vipajanvitam.
Panchadavi Vajanvitam,
Iha mutra cha modate.
Ihamutra Chamodate, Dharmaya Shashitaya,
Dhamaya ya shashitratya.
Kamaya Svajanaya Cha,
Kamaya janaya cha.
Panchadavi Vajanvitam,
Panchada vipajanvitam. Iha mutra cha modate. Namaya ya shashiditya. Kamaya svanaya cha. Panchana vidatanvitam.
Ihamutra Chamodate,
Dhamaya ya shashitaya. Kamaya svanaya cha. Kanchata tanyatam. Iha mutra cha modate. Dhamaya
Dharmaya,
for religion.
origin,
Ya shashe
Yashashi,
for one's reputation.
one's reputation,
Ardaya
Ardaya,
for increasing one's opulence.
for increasing one's opulence,
Kamaya
Kamaya,
for increasing sense gratification.
for increasing sense gratification,
Svajanaya cha
Svajanaya Cha,
for maintaining one's family members.
for maintaining one's family members,
Panchaha
Panchaha,
for these 5 different objectives.
for these 5 different objectives,
Vibhajan
Vibhajan,
dividing.
Dividing,
Vitam
Vitam,
his accumulated wealth.
his accumulated wealth,
Iha
Iha,
in this world.
in this world,
Amutra
Amutra,
the next world.
next world,
Cha
Cha,
and
and
Modate
Mudate,
he enjoys.
enjoys.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Therefore, one who is in full knowledge should divide his accumulated wealth in 5 parts: for religion, for reputation, for opulence, for sense gratification, and for the maintenance of his family members. Such a person is happy in this world and in the next. Purport. The Shastras enjoin that if one has money, one should divide all that he has accumulated into 5 divisions: 1 part for religion, 1 part for reputation, 1 part for opulence, 1 part for sense gratification, and 1 part to maintain his family, the members of his family. At the present, however, because people are bereft of all knowledge, they spend their money for sense gratification, spend their money for satisfaction of their family. Srila Rupa Goswami taught us by his own example by using 50% of his of his accumulated wealth for Krishna, 25% of his for his own self, and 25% for the members of his family. One's main purpose should be to advance in Krishna consciousness. This will include dharma, artha, and karma. However, because one's family members expect some profit, one should also satisfy them by giving them a portion of one's accumulated wealth. This is a Shastric injunction. So we read the last verse again. Therefore, one who is in full knowledge should divide his accumulated wealth in 5 parts: for religion, reputation, for opulence, for sense gratification, and for the maintenance of his family members. Such a person is happy in this world and in the next. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnana Shalakaya Chakshunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Shtavitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadandikam Vanchakapachadobhyasya Kripasindhubhyaivacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Ki Jai. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So this verse, it's very clear that Shukracharya, he's given instructions, not very much on the material plane. He's very much keeping all these are Vedic instructions of how to live a prosperous and healthy life within the material world, within the society. So in this way, he's giving advice to Bali Maharaj. He's telling him, you have to make sure before you start to give charity that you can take care of your own personal needs. So he's in this way he's saying even you should divide your wealth into 5 portions, and then you should spend your wealth in this way. And these 5 portions, they are very materialistic. And Prabhupada, he's even repeating it in the purport as a proper way to act within this material world. But then he's also giving the example of Rupa Goswami, who, after he had finished his service to the Nawab, he was paid, actually in boats full of gold coins. So he was paid quite a big amount of money. So Srila Rupa Goswami, he's giving the example, the Vaishnava example, the devotional example, that he, after finishing his work, that portion of life where he was earning, when he had accumulated wealth, then when he went on his path of renunciation, he took half of his wealth, and half of his wealth he gave to the Vaishnavas. He gave for devotional service. He gave for spiritual advancement of society. He just gave it away. And a fourth of it he kept for personal maintenance and emergency. And then another 25% of his wealth he used for his family members. I don't know how much family members Rupa Goswami had. He had Sanatana Goswami, and I think some of the wealth, I think it was even his personal, the fourth, which was part of his personal wealth, he used to get Sanatana Goswami out of jail. So he spent it in a very wise way to to for his family, which was in this case highly elevated Vaishnava. So the whole point that Shukracharya is making here to Bali Maharaj is, if you cannot even take care of your own maintenance, you shouldn't start giving in charity. But this is actually not the spiritual principle, which is because in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna, he's saying very, very interesting that this is in the 18th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, verse number 5. He says, acts of sacrifice, charity, and penance are not to be given up. They must be performed. So Krishna, he is very strong on this. Indeed, sacrifice, charities, and penance purify even the great soul. So Shukracharya, he's very materialistic in his concept because, and Srila Prabhupada, I was listening to a class where he's speaking about this, how Shukracharya, he was most concerned with the Guru Dakshin. This was the whole thing, he wanted to make sure that Bali Maharaj, he would have enough that he could give, Guru Dakshin to Shukracharya. So this was his whole, Srila Prabhupada, he is making the point that if he gives everything, there will be nothing left to me, Shukracharya. That's his whole way of meditating. So he's giving advice. He is taking something from Shastra and giving it as advice, but his consciousness behind this is don't give away too much, because if you become completely poor, there will be nothing for me. So, but charity, austerity, and penance, it's even for the great soul. And we know from Lord Chaitanya's pastimes, we know how Kulaveda Shitra, a very dear friend of Mahaprabhu, he would sell cups made from banana leaves, and he would sell the banana flour, which can be used for cooking sabji, and he would sell these bananas also for cooking. Everything bananas, the trunk inside, you can also make from the pulp of the banana. You can also make some food. So he would live from selling these things, which they were not very profitable. He was very, very poor, but he would still, whatever income he had, he would use half of it to worship Mother Ganges. So he and some, even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he's saying, why are you are so poor and you are still giving half to the worship of Mother Ganges? And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he would also come and he would beg things from Kolavecha, and Kolavecha, he just kind of like had to, out of love, he just gave to Lord Chaitanya, and he would say, oh, I'm giving you because you're a Brahmana. So he would always, of course, he was giving out of love and affection for Lord Chaitanya, but Lord Chaitanya would always say, can you give me half price? And then in the end, say, oh, you come here every day and you take all my things, just take them. And so this is the mood actually of the devotee, is to give in charity, not thinking, what's in it for me, not making plans like that. Just to be in this mood of actually giving just for the sake of giving service and giving pleasure. And this is actually the mood that Bali Maharaj, he has very deeply he understands. Even if Shukracharya is now giving warnings that you will lose everything and you will not be able to fulfill this and you're going to go to hell, he's giving very strong warnings to him, but he's still, Bali Maharaj, in his heart, he knows he's gonna serve. He's gonna give whatever Vamanadev wants from him, he wants to give. So even if he is gonna be so-called cheated by the Lord, he will take that as his personal joy, that actually Krishna is engaging with him in some exchange. So this is it's very interesting how if you follow the material way of how to divide your wealth, you should use some part for religion, but in this case it's like religion which is very much materialistic religion. And then you should use a part for your reputation. That's a very interesting thing. It's like you are kind of like a company, and you have to make some positive advertisement for yourself, to have a good standing in the world. You have to get a good reputation. You have to make sure that others are speaking good about you and are seeing you in a good light. But that usually just by your good behavior and by your act, that would happen. But Sukacharya, he's saying, no, you should 1/5 of your wealth, you should invest in getting a good reputation, So it's very materialistic, It's actually, if you're using, that's what the advertisement, what are all these advertisement things which are happening in the world? It's usually they're telling something about something which makes it look much better than it actually is. It has to become somehow. Therefore, these natural healers and people who are into fortune in the forest and using nettles and herbs and stuff. They say you should eat the food which there are no advertisement for. You should eat all the things where people don't make advertisement, because all these advertisement making your reputation very good like that. This it's actually a kind of cheating, which is there in the material world. But this is what Sukacharya is saying. You should use 1/5 to make sure that your reputation is going up. And then 1/5 you should use for sense gratification and for the maintenance of the family members. And then Srila Prabhupada is picking up in the end on this point. He is saying, he's making one point. He says one's main purpose should be to advance in Krishna consciousness. All of these different, how to use the wealth and everything, that's not so important. Prabhupada is making one statement. One's main purpose should be to advance in Krishna consciousness. And then he says, this is including Dharma, Artha, this is including religiosity, Artha, all your activities. These are all included in this one purpose. And then Prabhupada is saying, however, because he's being very practical, because one's family members expect some profit, they expect something from you, one should also satisfy them by giving them a portion of one's accumulated wealth. And it's not just a good, Srila Prabhupada is making the point, it's not just a good advice, this is the Shastric injunction. So it's there in the Shastras. You should take care of your family. We are karmically related to other people, not without a reason. Srila Prabhupada, he took care as far as he could of his family. And then at one point, he was really poor at one point. He lost his business, his things were not very financially stable. And at that point, he also had that deep realization, now actually it's like my family is rejecting me because I cannot really give them material, nice situation. So this realization actually made Prabhupada also more detached, because he could see, oh, it's actually, the affection is actually for the material, not so much for me and for my, what is really my deep interest. There were not so much affection for that. Maybe one of his son had respect and affections like that for Srila Prabhupada as a missionary person with a higher purpose. But the rest of the family, Srila Prabhupada is making the point here that still the families, they are expecting something, and you should give something, just also to have peace in your own life. It's also part of our, to take care of others, and especially those who are, this may be like from the head of the household point of view. If you're the head of the household, then you have to take care of everybody within your household. It's you have to give those who are dependent on you, you have to take care of. So it is a principle, and Srila Prabhupada makes, in the end, he says, this is also a Shastric principle. So we have to follow this. But Shukracharya, he is putting all of these points. He's seriously thinking he's helping Bali Maharaj by telling him, don't give charity to Vamanadev. He is, because he don't want him to be on the level of a pure devotee. He is not giving him advice how to advance. He's not giving Bali Maharaj advice how to progress on the path of devotional service. That's not what Shukracharya is doing for Bali Maharaj. He's very much keeping him within the frame of a Vedic king. In that sense also, because Bali Maharaj, we will continue to read, Bali Maharaj, he is losing everything. And there is even, in the end, there is no place where Vamanadev can put his third step. So Bali Maharaj said, you can put it on my head. But Bali Maharaj's wife is saying, you fool, you think your head is your own. It's not even your head. Everything belongs to the Lord. So she was actually, in one sense, she was like almost more Krishna conscious than her husband, by seeing how everything belongs to the Lord. Even Bali Maharaj's head also belongs to the Lord. So these was just some points to this purport. It's not so easy to prepare a class where the subject matter is kind of like not so interesting, how to share your wealth in 5. I didn't personally find that so interesting, but it's there, and I try to present some points. Maybe there are some comments and some questions to this class.
It seems like the Shukracharya is not a Brahman, nor a Vaishya.
Yeah, he's the family guru. So it's he has a different. It's more like a tradition than a spiritual guru. Yeah, they still have family gurus. This is like, Garagamuni, he was the family guru of Nanda Maharaj. So sometimes these family gurus are very pure. But we also have, I mean, Bali Maharaj, he was the king of the demons. So maybe it also has a little bit to do with what kind of dynasty the family guru he may be, like that. Maybe something else? Yeah.
The half quarter principle. I mean, if we had to do that today, we would this.
Yes. One time there was a discussion on this point in a Bhagavatam class where many proper disciples were there, and there was like, and the householders, I mean, the householders, just for them to come regularly to the temple is an endeavor, and maintain the household and maintain their duties and do the job, and just to come regularly to the temple is a lot. But then the point was also, how can you give like 50% of your income if the rent that you pay is already 50% of your income? That's not possible. So if you have that the rent is like 10% of your income, then it's much more, plausible. Then it can actually, then you can give more. I mean, Shukracharya, he's making a point, because he's saying charity, sacrifice, austerity, fruitive activities are possible for one who is competent to earn his livelihood properly. Yeah? So you can only give if you have. But we see from Kulaveda, we see he just gave half anyway, because he didn't care for his material maintenance. I mean, he lived in Mayapur in a very simple hut. His needs were, maybe one time there was a plant, a curd or a gourd or what it's called, was growing. A green lush plant was growing on the roof of his hut, and Lord Chaitanya, he saw it, and he was thinking, oh, we take this and we will cook a very, very nice sabji out of this. so he was very poor, but nature also gave him natural opulence, in a different way. So when you have half of the year where you need to heat and things like that, we have a completely different situation. So in that sense, Sukracharya, he is making a point: you can only give if you have. If you are able yourself to maintain yourself, then you can give. But Krishna also says, charity, austerity, it purifies even the great souls. So it's not that you can, the principle has to be there. And even in other traditions, I think it's Islamic tradition, I think in the Jewish tradition, I think it's even somewhere in some different divisions of Christianity, they call it a tenthel.
Well, you have to give a tenth.
Yeah, you have to always give a tenth. A tenth you have to always give away. They even have like a, what is the word for that? To tenthel? I don't know. There's one word which describes that act of, so and they actually do it in such a way that they really, whatever came in on your account on payday, 10% of it's already gone. They have some charity, they may have a fixed place, it immediately go to some kind of charity.
Yeah, the church donations that you give to the church.
Yeah. So this, I mean, it's there in our culture also very much, and we have to also develop it, more and more and more. We have to, and we do not actually understand, because if we really understood the benefit of giving, giving something for devotional service, just giving, like you give to a hospital or something, that amount will come back easily next lifetime. Easily. Whatever you gave, you get back. But if you give for devotional service, it's at least 7 times that comes back to you. So even if you, huh? I don't know it right now, but that's the principle. That's the principle. And if you go for pure devotee, it's like, you know, you have like unlimited what comes back. So we should not be afraid to give, you know. And also the principle of giving, it is purifying also, because one of the qualities which is there in the material world, which is actually binding us a lot, is to be attached to the fruits of our activities. You know, that you have this whole concept of being a fruitive worker. You work to get some fruits. So the whole idea to get detached from the fruits of our activities, this is a very purifying process. Therefore also Krishna says sacrifice, charity, austerity, it's for everybody. It really helps us to advance.
Do you think charity just means giving money, or?
No, charity is also you give your time, you give your, you know, charity is many things. You know, you have skills you can give away, you can, you know, everything Krishna has given us, we can give away. So time is something. Our energy, you know, you have people who do work kind of like to progress a course. This is also a kind of a charity, you know. So I was thinking, I was just reading yesterday in this book. It's called Renunciation Through Wisdom, and it's really special because it's Srila Prabhupada. He was writing for one of his godbrothers. He was doing the editing for some monthly, I think it came out every month, every 2 times a month, some kind of not a magazine, but some kind of some kind of text which was published by one of his godbrothers. And he was doing all the editing, but he was also writing, he was also giving articles. So all of this writing which is in this book was done in Bengali language, and it was done between 1948 and 1958. So Srila Prabhupada, he was still like a householder, and he was giving charity, time, energy for writing. So he was giving this contribution of knowledge to this periodical, how you call this? Yeah, to this piece of whatever always came. And there he is saying, I was just really fascinating yesterday when I read this, because I just read a small piece. Of course, by the Lord's will and by the mercy of his pure devotee, this knowledge will again spread everywhere. Lord Chaitanya has made this prophecy. Picha Vicha Atta Yata Nadi Gradi Gram Savata Pacharya Hoibe Moranam. My holy name will be propagated in every town and village of this globe. This prediction will very easily come true, for a pure devotee of the Lord can inundate the world with the tidal waves of love of Godhead, the religion preached by Lord Chaitanya. Everything is possible if the Lord desires, and thus the Lord's desires, thus if the Lord's desires, everyone can develop a loving mood of surrender to Him. So this is written between 48 and 58. Long time before Srila Prabhupada was in the mission as we know him about. But he was so sure. So he had given his consciousness very, very much in charity to the mission and to writing. And he's mainly writing in this part, he's mainly writing just for the Indian people and for his god brothers. Everybody in the Gaudiya Math, they may have read what he was writing at this point. So Prabhupada had a very strong faith that the holy name will be chanted all over the globe. This will very easily happen. He's super positive, about this. So Prabhupada, he gave his time to write and to, because he was doing the editing and helping his god brother, he got like eine Spalte, he got a space in this whatever was printed on a regular basis, and he used it. I mean, he used it so much that this is like a whole book. It's really a potent book. It's all of these articles really, really special. And it has been available. It was Bhakti Charu Maharaj. One of the first things he did, he joined very, very late. 76. And in the beginning of 77, he had found a few of these printings from Bengali. And because he could read Bengali, he was from Bengal, so it was his native language. And he had translated these pieces of articles into English and had made small booklets for Prabhupada. And he gave Prabhupada these maybe 3, 4 of the chapters which are in this book now. He gave to Prabhupada, and Prabhupada was very pleased that these writings, original writings from Prabhupada, which was written in Bengali, that they were translated into English. And then he just continued after, and it took him quite a long time to find, because these printings, papers, whatever it was, they were spread everywhere. They were not collected in a special place. So he had to really find them, go and research for them. And then he got all of these articles together and got them translated and got help to do it in a really nice way. And I think in 1909, so 92 or something, they were printed in English. Yeah. But I remember being in Mayapur maybe around the same time, and they were distributing the Bengali original text of Prabhupada. They were saying, this Prabhupada wrote before ISKCON. This is Prabhupada original writing. The Bengali people, they were very proud because Prabhupada was from Bengal, so they were very proud to distribute these prints. But they're in English. You can get this book maybe in Radhadesh, maybe. Yeah. It's available. Okay, something else? Thank you. Today, Hare Krishna. Ki Jai.